breaking down all the biggest games in our area. This is Sports Talk with Kendrick and Dusty on Wave Now. Delivered by Bearno's Pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
Well, hello there. Welcome back to Sports Talk with Kendrick and Dusty. It's been a long time. I see you just about every day, unfortunately. But how's it been since the last time we did a podcast?
I mean, it's been a lot better when Kendrick was on vacation.
Yeah, well you'll get the experience in a couple of weeks.
We haven't done this together in probably 2 months.
I don't think it's been it may have been. It's been a little busy around here.
It's been very busy. I mean, we've been running around constantly. And, you talk about the overlap of football, basketball, volleyball. You talk about just all the random stuff that can happen too on top of that, day in, day out. And we'll get to the randomness of just even one simple day,
right? Like
what we experienced yesterday. And
from the Louisville moment.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. I've been here now for 9 months. Believe it or not. Does it feel like that?
It feels like 9
years. I was going to say, I feel like it's been 10 years. My first real what in the world just happened day, I would say, was yesterday. I think that one, we've had a couple like this year, and obviously specifically with men's basketball, there's been like 5 to 6 just really weird things that have happened. But I think that one cannot be topped. That was just bizarre.
Yes, it can.
Maybe I'm wishing for something that I don't deserve.
As someone who has lived this for the last 2 years, just wait.
Oh, no.
Something else will come along.
Oh, no.
U of L is the gift that keeps on giving to anybody who needs to talk on a microphone. Anyway, we may as well just jump right into it.
Yeah.
Of course, we had all the weird stuff going on with Davis yesterday. He tweeted out he was on the honor roll. Mm-hmm. Then he tweets out, we're talking about Karan Davis, of course. He
posted his report card.
Then he posts that he's going to be in the arena to support the men and the women. So when you first see that, you don't think anything of it. But then as time goes on, you're like, hold on there. So then probably about an hour after he said he was going to be at the game, U of L releases a statement saying that he has asked for a transfer. Well, then later he tweets out that he did not ask for such transfer, and he's appalled basically that they would put out false information. And then roughly about an hour before the game last night, U of L puts out, well, he was actually asked to leave the program, and to boil it down, they were trying to save face for the kid, and say he asked for a transfer when he was actually released. So.
It was a nightmare. I mean, it was a PR nightmare because there were 2 press releases, as Kendrick had mentioned. One that was incredibly short, literally a line. Yeah, it was literally a line, just saying that he is transferring. And then the next one, 2 lines, 3 lines that we got instead. And it was, he's been dismissed. Once again, the same conclusion. We wish him the best of luck.
Right.
And then, of course, the press conference that everybody had been waiting for. I think a lot of people we're just kind of sitting waiting for the press conference, not even thinking about the game, which we'll touch on in a sec. But obviously the game was miserable to watch on top of that. And then you get to the press conference. And, this is the first time I feel like we've just seen Kenny deflect.
Right.
And
that's basically just saying we put out a statement and that's it. What's kind of going in, kind of had a feeling he may do that.
Right.
I mean, he's not the only coach that's ever done that, but we would have liked to have a little bit more because we've been asking about that situation for months now.
Yeah.
And all we've ever gotten was he's not in trouble. He's still with the team.
Yep.
Well, he's not in trouble, but he's not with the team.
He's not with the team anymore.
And then he shows up at the game last night. Yeah. So, but I guess that situation is basically put to bed at this point. But then we get to the game.
Oh, the game itself. One of the most miserable experiences you will have as a fan.
So the Cards, now, you probably don't hear anything under this right now, but Brandon Huntley Hatfield had his best game as a Card so far. He had 20 points and he had 12 rebounds, and then when Mike James gets this added one, the Cards are up 2 going into the break. You're feeling good. We go back. We have our cookies in the back. And it felt like the Cards may have had some cookies too, because in the second half, they couldn't stop them. They couldn't stop anybody. I mean, just open lanes to the rim. Everybody was getting in there. It felt like at one point, if Arkansas State didn't make a shot, they were getting the offensive rebound. They were, I mean, just U of L just completely fell apart.
That right there was the moment too. Yeah. I would say that's the 3-pointer by Hicks ultimately. I think is kind of what sealed their fate. And you saw a 16-point lead. You saw that
all the way up to 18 or 19.
Yeah, it was an epic collapse from what it honestly was a game that they should have won.
I mean, Arkansas State's 3-7 and hadn't beaten a Power 5 team since 2014. So yes, U of L should have won that game. Now, granted, they were playing without Evans and JJ Traynor. I don't know how much of an effect Evans necessarily has on the game. JJ Traynor definitely does have especially on the defensive end. But I mean, I don't think he makes up an 18, 19-point difference if they were down in the second half. I mean, like the team. I was there for 3/4 of the game. I left at the 8-minute timeout. You were there for the whole game. Mm-hmm. It's just, and like that last 8 minutes was huge. When it completely fell apart. What did you see? Because I just listened to it on the radio.
I think a big part of it, honestly, and you probably heard this on the radio, it almost seemed, and you hear sometimes teams don't put in 100% effort. Mm-hmm. It truly seemed like they didn't do that. I mean, they started slowing down.
For 2 years now under Coach Payne.
They straight up started giving up. And at one point in time, and I think really at the very end, probably the last 4 to 5 minutes, you saw they weren't even guarding anybody. I mean, they were just letting open lanes take place. They were letting guys get inside. And Arkansas State shouldn't be dominating you inside the paint. And they were.
At home.
Yeah, at home. And they were all game, but especially in that fourth quarter. I think the most disappointing thing about this was in the post-game presser. We talked to Huntley Hatfield. We also talked to Sky Moore. Or Sky Clark, Sky Moore. We didn't quite talk to Sky Moore.
Doubt if he came
both of them have been. Sky Moore hasn't been very effective this year, by the way, either. I would know.
Like you have him on your fantasy.
I might have him on 2 of them. But that's why it's close to my heart. Yes, it is. Sky Clark though, and Huntley Hatfield in the post game presser, and asked them. Ultimately, what is the emotion like? I mean, what is that reaction like in the locker room? And, they gave the basic answer of, well, we're fighting, people are going to stick with us. Some people will stick with us. Other people will abandon us. And when we're back, they'll come back. But the reality is, I'll be honest, like there's no sign of tears in Huntley Hatfield's eyes, but it looked close. Like some people literally tweeting out saying they thought he was crying. And it's just the emotion that they look defeated. And I mean, they kind of are defeated, like the way that it's been.
Think about it from Brandon Huntley Hatfield's side of it. He's been there. He was there last year. This is 2 years in a row. He's having to deal with this. And, the U of L, I mean, they've already matched their win total from last year. But now there's been signs as Myra goes by waving. There's been signs that they were improving. They do look improved in moments. But these last couple of games, they have reverted back. And a lot of the things that were problems last year, we're seeing all over again.
Yeah, I think another thing interesting to note, because Huntley Hatfield was kind of the one storyline that was positive yesterday. Mm-hmm. He might have been the most distracted, if you will, with the outside noise because Karan Davis was his roommate.
Right.
And so crazy that he put up that kind of effort. And he looked sharp. I mean, he really did. Mm-hmm. It's just
knocking down his free throw.
Yeah, he was very solid, very effective. But
Sky Clark had his moment in the first half.
He did.
And he was the offense. Yeah. He scored like 6, 7, 8 straight points for U of L.
I want to say Trey White's plus minus was like minus 20. I mean, it's been just kind of an inconsistent performance across the board for these players. Like you'll have a breakout performance from one of them, and then their starting 4 of the 5 don't, find themselves even remotely close to 10 points in the game. And they were just dominated as far as out rebounding is concerned. It was rough to watch.
It was so many times in the second half. Like I said, when Arkansas State was getting 2, 3 extra possessions on offensive rebounds. I think at one point, Arkansas State had 30 shot attempts in the second half to U of L's 18. That's all effort. That's not U of L making shots, and that's them not getting rebounds.
Not getting rebounds. And to your point, not only were they not getting rebounds, but they also weren't hitting shots from 3. They are miserable. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they went 2 for 15.
I know they only made 2. They have the streak of making a 3-pointer in every game, and they didn't keep the streak alive until late in the game. I think Tyler hit the first one.
Tyler hit the first, Sky the second
in the game.
Yeah. That's bad that you can, track back and think of the 2 times that happened. I mean, that is the reality of this team, though. And I think that's something that you have to sit back and consider is, Kenny Payne's going to take a lot of the blame, right? And a lot of people obviously calling for his name. But the reality is the guys playing the game still need to be the ones also discussed in this matter, because it's not all falling on Kenny Payne. Are his players prepared? They do not appear to be. Are they executing? They are definitely not executing. But that doesn't just fall on the coach. That does fall on the players as well. They have to take accountability for this too. This is a whole collective effort.
There's times, and I think somebody told me it was pointed out in the broadcast, but I've been seeing it all season. There's times, especially on transition defense, where it looks like they have no idea who they're supposed to be picking up.
Right.
And it's like, I'm sorry that, and I don't want to pile on Kenny, but that does fall on coaching.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, you're a player. You're supposed to know who you're guarding.
Exactly.
But stuff like that, it just doesn't make sense.
No.
And then there's always a point in the game where they give up an offensive rebound on a free throw.
Right.
Which for most teams, you always see that maybe once a year, maybe. With them, you see that once a game. Last night, I know there was one instance where they lost the ball out of bounds off a missed free throw. I count that as an offensive rebound because they get another possession. It probably happened again. I quit paying attention.
I don't blame you at all.
And it's you hate this. The people will blame Kenny for the team players' lack of effort, or where it looks like a lack of effort. The broadcasters on television, a lot of national media pundits were saying this team straight up quit last night. That falls. At what point do you have pride for yourself?
Right.
That you give maximum effort no matter what.
Right.
That part is. I think that might be what's confusing Kenny too, because it's like, at what point do you have self pride that you give maximum effort every game here and game in and game out, and we just don't see it.
And to that point, Kenny, every press conference seems to say in some way, shape, or form the phrase "young people" when talking about his team, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder if there is some sort of disconnect to a degree.
I think there could be a little bit of a generational disconnect.
I wonder, because you see, obviously, the Tyler issue when he had his tights. That blew up. I thought that was the weirdest thing we were going to see this year. And then, a week and a half, 2 weeks go by and something else new, right? It's just so that's why. That is the issue that we're dealing with right here. Now, a lot of people calling for Kenny Payne's, firing at the moment, and just go on social media. You will see it everywhere. The reality is, none of us know what the decision is. We don't know if he's going to last a day, a week, a month, or the rest of the season.
And a lot of people that are calling for the firing don't have $24 million.
That's exactly why. You have to look at the breakdown here. Financially, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to can a guy when the team already, they look lost. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. They look completely lost. You bring in a new face. Who's that going to be?
Right.
What if you lose the whole coaching staff because of Kenny leaving, right?
Right. And it's possible they're very loyal to him. But even then, and if it did happen, you do have a coach on the staff who has been in that situation. Danny Manning, his last job was the interim head coach at Maryland when they had fired their coach. So he could take over the team. He know what he was doing. Mm-hmm. I know I hear a lot of people calling for Nolan Smith to take over.
Right.
Nolan hasn't been a head coach either.
Yeah.
And so, if it did happen, the best case scenario would be Danny Manning taking over the team. But we're still in December. We've only had one ACC game. There's still a ton of time for them to turn around and make it respectable. And at this point, I think that's what you have to root for, is just make the season respectable and to hope the guys can give 100% effort night in and night out.
My favorite little fan theory that I've seen here is Peyton Siva quietly has been coaching from the sidelines, like in the background. Like I've seen that out there.
Because Peyton says stuff, and Peyton is very smart and intelligent, basketball player.
Yeah.
but he's never coached before either.
Yeah. These people, it's just if
Like
there's
the same people mad because they hired Kenny because he
Right.
didn't have coaching experience.
Right.
Want somebody with no coaching experience to take over the program.
that's the best part about it is people don't actually know what they want. They're calling for his head, but they don't have a legitimate backup plan, or at least in their head they think of a name and they say, "Yep, that's the right one." And it's like you have to realize you have to be credentialed.
I already see and the usual suspects come up: Mark Jackson,
Right,
Billy Donovan, and I'm like,
after a while, it's exhausting.
It's especially the Billy Donovan. Anytime a job opening comes open, Billy Donovan's name is mentioned.
Naturally.
He's with the Bulls. The Bulls are terrible.
The NFL, I think it's funny when the NFL happens and you hear Nick Saban's name every time there's an opening. Like,
or Harbaugh.
Yeah, or Harbaugh's and everything. And like after a while, it's like, okay, quit the thought that sounds cool and think about like what's realistic. And right now, what's realistic is Kenny Payne's the head coach of U of M.
And I'm Billy Donovan too. The protege of Rick Pitino.
Of course, yes.
Why on earth would a Rick Pitino protege come
back? Yeah, exactly. But hey, you know what? We think these things through, right? Like that's
hard being a fan. So you gotta let people live.
Wait until you see rumors left and right when you type it in on Trade Rumors.
Oh yes, it's terrible. But when nothing is worse for working in media than a coaching search.
No,
because everybody has a theory.
We're hopefully that's going to.
Everybody has a source who has a source who has a source, and you don't have a source. But we'll put a ball on that. We'll get to a little bit of football. As it came out last night, U of L running back JaMarr Jordan, their leading rusher, has declared for the NFL draft, and he will not play in the Holiday Bowl on December 27th. And the thing about JaMarr, as great as he is, I don't think people realize how small he is.
Oh yeah, he's not a tall dude. He's very quick and shifty.
Quick and he's strong.
Yeah,
he's skinny strong, but he is a tiny guy.
Yeah,
but I can see him. I mean, of course he will get drafted. I'm seeing people saying, "Oh, what do you think? Late first round?" I'm like, I'm thinking late third day.
Yeah, that's why I think I found this one to be a little interesting of the timing. The one weird one to me is his teammate was Tyler Shuck, right?
Yeah,
and so Shuck transferred.
And he was like celebrating Shuck.
Yeah, and now he's on the move. So there's something weird about that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he knew regardless. Probably said to Shuck, "Hey, I'm transferring, but like, welcome to the squad." I'm sure that's what happened.
I'm sure he sold Shuck on the program.
Yeah.
He's like, look,
why not?
I mean, it's easy. It's an easy program to sell, and so I'm sure he sold him on it. But I mean, yeah, you're checking his NFL draft status or where he's being projected.
Yeah, looking at projections at the moment, and there's only so many of these you can trust because every year there seems to be somebody that is way overdrafted early drafts. It doesn't even look like there's really any place where there's a mock at this point. They have him best ranked right now at 203 overall. So
that's about what, third day?
Yeah, you're talking third day.
Projected seventh round.
Yeah, that's pretty much what that is. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But I mean, if we're being honest, there's nothing wrong with that. And running backs, I mean, especially in the running back position in the NFL, the way they've devalued it, it doesn't matter if you go on the third day as long as you get picked. And really and truly, at this point, it doesn't even matter if you get drafted.
Right.
Because if you got more options if you don't get drafted. And so, and no disrespect to him, JaMarr Jordan's a great running back.
Right.
He's awesome. He dealt with injuries this year, and the season kind of changed. And even though Orlando was fantastic in a couple of those games, but the season really changed when JaMarr got hurt. He's so fast.
I think unreal.
He'll be excellent on special teams, especially on punt and kick returns. And so I think he'll have a phenomenal. I think he'll be a great player. He'd be a great pick. I wouldn't mind seeing Dallas get him, of course. Your Chargers could use him.
Chargers easily could use him.
Inevitably, you're on 3rd and 8 in the 4th quarter.
And Max Duggan's leading the charge.
Make that 3rd and 15.
Jordan's listed as 5'10", 185. I think as of right now, it looks like DraftScout.com lists him as the 8th ranked running back. That's actually a profile for 2025. So a lot of people probably not even seeing this coming, that it's for 2024 that he's headed out, obviously. I am interested about one thing, though. You saw later in the season, especially with Jordan going down with injuries, how successful Garendo was. Mm-hmm. And the way that he was basically able to take the charge and lead the squad. And he's a way different runner. I mean, he's more downhill. He's more physical, I would say.
Crazy. As crazy as it sounds, I could kind of see Garendo going higher in the draft.
I could too. I think he's more of a projected NFL back.
And he's got, I mean, Jordan's faster, not that much faster than Garendo. And I think Garendo's got the size. I can see Garendo going higher than JaMarr.
I could too. And based off of what we've seen from Garendo, I mean, durability, he's incredibly durable, right? And that's something that is kind of rare in college or pro football. Back to Jordan, I will say this, and the more I think about it, the more I realize for a running back, it's not the worst idea to elect for the draft when you have stock.
Yeah, especially at running back.
Yeah,
you got to get that clock going early because they don't want to pay you
at all.
So you got to hurry. You got to get to that second contract as fast as you can in the NFL.
And think about the running backs that we've seen this year that have made a presence. I mean, one that comes to my mind, obviously, with my Horned Frogs is DeMercado. Was undrafted, right? He was the running back for Arizona. Had 2 to 3 starts. He gets hurt. Right. Now Arizona's on like their 5th string running back, right?
Because James Conner has stayed healthy since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, but you go to Saquon Barkley. He's one of the best running backs in the league, and he had to fight to get paid. And he's still way underpaid,
right?
Especially as terrible as they are.
Yeah.
And he is their signing. Well, now they got DeVito. But
DeVito's for some reason changed the game. I don't. You as a Cowboys fan just roll your eyes, don't you?
He changed the game because they don't have film on them.
That's how I see that too. I will agree though. I think that when you look at JaMarr Jordan, there is some profile in which I think a team will definitely utilize the speed. But I think Garendo has the capabilities to be a true, possibly number 1, easily number 2 backup running back in the NFL. I could easily see that happen if he keeps going and doing what he did this past season. I mean, he was very successful for the Cards and what was essentially a limited role heading into the year, and he developed. I mean, it was very impressive to watch.
Yeah. Listen, we have the bowl game coming up. Kentucky's bowl game. It's a mismatch of who's playing in it.
Pretty much.
Because they're taking on Clemson in the Gator Bowl. Same with U of L. We don't know who all is going to play for USC. We know who's not playing.
You're right.
But we still, I mean, there still could be some names out there. But Kentucky, I mean, at first when that bowl matchup first came out, I was like, I think they might get smoked in that game. But now I give them a legitimate chance against Clemson because Clemson's going to have a lot of guys out of that game. I felt like Clemson still felt like they had something to prove, and I could still see that. But I think that game's going to be closer than people anticipate, and I can see Kentucky pulling off the upset.
I just wonder, Mark Stoops in the introductory press conference for the bowl game, he kind of hinted immediately, like one of his first quotes was talking simply about their offense, right? And Kentucky's offense has not been that great this year. Let's be honest. Like Leary has been inconsistent. You've seen Dane Key kind of step in a big way, but who's the one consistent force on that offense? Ray Davis. And
he
so
is playing in the bowl.
It's what they've said. He's supposed to be playing.
He's been consistent.
Yeah.
The play calling to get him the ball has not.
Yes.
So
if he for sure as it's expected he's playing, that's a game changer. I'm still not going to be shocked if somehow, some way he ends up in the NFL draft and opts out. Like I could see something like that.
He's already declared.
Has he's officially declared at this point. Okay.
He's declared, but he's still playing.
He's still playing. I mean, there's players like him probably that can, get even more eyes on him through this game.
You got to get tape out there. That's why, honestly, I think it would have been a good idea for JaMarr Jordan to play in the game. Could get some more tape out.
Probably help.
And you'll come into that game.
Yeah.
Because the Florida State game, that was as healthy as I've seen him look in weeks.
Yeah.
And you would have to imagine by December 27th, you haven't played him in a month, you'd be 100%. But, you also run the risk of getting injured.
That's the thing.
Especially at running back, you run that risk. I mean, so, to each his own. More power. Good luck to everybody heading into the NFL draft. Do you get excited for the draft?
Yeah, I love the draft. Except for I'm a huge draft fan
because it's basically spreadsheets.
It's spreadsheets galore, man. And the beauty is
spreadsheet weirdo.
I love nothing more than seeing a bunch of random names projections and where they're going.
It is funny to hear all the analysts.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have.
They have no clue how it's happening. I just think it's funny because there's all this hype, and you go into it, and 2 months prior, this fan base that's diehard of these teams has no clue who this player is.
But they're going crazy.
And magically, they're like biggest fans of this player, and you're like, you don't even know like anything about this guy. It's so funny. I absolutely love it. Chargers fans, that's obviously the team that I grew up with, and we have a tendency to get really excited about players we don't know, and then they don't pan out, aka Quentin Johnston. But hey, Darius Davis, 4th round pick, has gone off this year, should go to the Pro Bowl. Fun fact.
Pro Bowl.
He should. No, he really, if you look at his numbers, punt return first in the league and punt return yard average.
Yeah, because they have how many punt returns.
Well, at least we should also talk about the Chargers punting because it seems like we do that a lot. But yeah, it's
that's the Pro Bowl.
That is the Pro Bowl to the max. Yeah, the Chargers are a mess. They play tonight against the Raiders, and do yourselves a favor, don't
Here
watch.
I am, who loves to make fun of him and loves it when his teams lose because it's funny.
Yeah,
I'm telling him that the Chargers are going to win tonight, and he's like, "No, they're not.
They're not winning
So,
unless our handy dandy superstar Max Duggan steps up and leads the charge.
If that's the case, then but we all know what happened the last time Max Duggan played in a game.
In the national championship, I just want to add, went to the national championship.
In that national championship.
The goal for U of L.
I think Michigan just scored again. Or Alabama.
What happened in that Michigan game? I want to know that.
Georgia just scored again.
What about the Michigan game? You mentioned Michigan. I don't
Georgia just scored again.
I don't know.
That wasn't the last game he played in the county.
Yeah, he played in a good game against Michigan, I would say. I was there for that. That was a fun game to be part of.
Georgia game too, weren't you?
I just remember Quentin Johnson scoring.
You was there at the Georgia game.
Where was Murray State in that?
We're going to play the FBS. I tell you what they were not doing. Getting embarrassed on national television.
I'm okay with it. I'm fine with the Frogs making the Natty, and of course this year they don't make a bowl game. So, anyways, U of L will be in the bowl game. That's the beauty for U of L and UK. They will both be in bowl games.
And Western Kentucky.
And you led me right into the next one. The Toastery Bowl though has WKU and Old Dominion. So.
I'll go with the tops in that one. Even though Old Dominion's tough, they got some big wins. I think they beat Virginia Tech this year, and so
I believe so.
Yeah. And they beat one of the Virginians. I'm pretty sure it's Virginia Tech. So I mean, Old Dominion's good. Western Kentucky's been wildly inconsistent.
Yeah,
but they're going to put up numbers, and the inconsistency comes on the defensive side of the ball. But they're going to put up numbers. It's going to be all of their games are fun to watch.
Reed is a stud, and just watching the way that their offense has functioned throughout the season, I wonder if Reed is going to play in that too, because there's some hope I've read around there. Mm-hmm. There is some hope of the NFL draft stock there that there's something involved there where teams may take a little nab at him.
I think it's just weird to think of somebody playing in that bowl, not playing in that bowl.
Right. Yes. We're going to see this. I'm going to actually look this up because I haven't checked since probably a couple of weeks ago. At this point in time, his draft profile, 6'1", weighs 222.
He's got the numbers. And if you look at the last two Western Kentucky quarterbacks,
7th round. He's projected quite literally to be in the final few picks of the 7th round.
Western Kentucky, they produce quarterbacks. You look at Mike White. Mm-hmm. You look at the Patriots quarterback.
Yeah.
Why is his name still in my head? And what is his name?
Patriots quarterback. Yeah. We're blanking.
See, I'm old. I'm
you are old.
Getting stuff.
You are old. You know what I'm not forgetting about? The big press conference that took place today.
If you have blocked him or muted him on Twitter, it's understandable. After Shohei Ohtani signed with the LA Dodgers, this is the only mention we're going to have of that. We're moving on.
This is Kendrick had mentioned to me that nobody cares about Shohei signing, so I had to post this. He broke the Fanatics record for most jerseys sold in 48 hours in history. Look at that beauty right there, Kendrick. Look at that beautiful jersey right there. What are your thoughts?
Moving on.
Shohei Ohtani signs a record-breaking contract, $700 million in 10 years. If you would,
people in LA care.
People all over care.
Bailey Zappi is who I was thinking of. The New England
Zappi,
Patriots quarterback who started at Western Kentucky. So I said Western Kentucky does have a long. Hey, Roy from PRP.
I was just gonna say, Roy from PRP. Hello, thank you for watching us.
Thanks for watching, dealing with us, because it's been a while, and so we're back for now. We'll do it again at some point.
I think it's also appropriate right now to take a moment to say thank you to Bierno's Pizza for
Yes.
constantly sponsoring and then being a big part of this. We're very thankful for what Bierno's has done for this podcast, obviously also throughout the entire high school football season. I think it's important that I did a little wrap on this on Saturday, but Cal, Trinity, they are champions. A little shout out to KCD as well, because they had 3 players of the week for us this season. It has impressed me significantly. So the fan base voting, and I mean, they've
never mentioned it. Matter of mind that South Oldham had 3 also.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a very good point. Yeah.
But you only focused on KCD.
Yeah, well, KCD down the stretch was pretty dang good.
That's because you love for Will Smith.
Will Smith may have gone to KCD. But yes, congratulations to those 2 teams. He deals with nothing. He's thankful. The fact of the matter is,
body.
Let's send Kendrick back on vacation. If you guys want to do a GoFundMe is open and ready. So, but yes, I think Cal, what a run that they had. Obviously, back-to-back champs.
Back-to-back champions. The Hodge brothers have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing rumblings that Connor is going to take over at quarterback when Cole leaves. And so that'll be interesting to see, because Connor's a heck of an athlete.
Yeah.
Connor, he is something else. I mean, because he's a really good basketball player. He's great at receiver. He's great at safety.
Yep.
And to see him at quarterback as an athlete, we haven't seen his arm. I'm sure he probably has a decent arm too.
He's athletic, man. I mean,
he's athletic as they come. And so my cousin's on the coaching staff, and he says Connor's the one with all the swag between the two of them. And so it'll be interesting to see him playing quarterback.
Cole is very level-headed, and I think that's huge for quarterback play. Connor's very athletic, and I'm sure learning under Cole has been a key influence for him too, just moving forward. So that should be huge to watch that. I've heard those rumblings as well that Connor will probably be the starting quarterback. So keep an eye for that. As for Trinity, shout out
to Jay Cobb, one of my favorite coaches in the area to cover. He's just a great man. He's funny. He was picking on me when I was at the Trinity game the other night, but that's all good. But I was at the Trinity basketball game when they honored the state championship team at halftime of that game when they took on Seneca. Just a great guy. It's great for him to get that monkey off his back, because I mean, nobody wants to be the man that replaces the man, and Bob Beatty was the man at Trinity. And so it took Jay a couple years to get things rolling, but he not only did he win a championship, he's got a freshman quarterback. Yep. So Trinity's not going anywhere for a while, and they've got a lot of freshmen that didn't play as much. They got a lot of younger players that did not play as much, and we didn't see that are coming down the pipe. Trinity's back.
One of my favorite things about Coach Cobb is how personally he takes this job. And all coaches do, right? But the history of Trinity and just the fact that after they won the championship during his post-game press conference, I thought it was a very interesting point that he made, where a lot of people were saying, well, congrats on your first title. Well, he was also, he's been a part of several. And he said, it's our first since 2020, but don't point to the fact of that. Point to the fact that we won 28 of these. And, this is nothing new to us. Like, we're going to be back here again. He basically made that statement that he expects this every year. And
that's the expectation at Trinity.
Yeah. How can you doubt it? You have a freshman quarterback. The kid's only going to mature. It's going to be fun watching this team. And, we have so many great teams in the area, too. It was.
And shout out Adrian Morton, calling a career at Ballard. He steps down, resigns. He's taken Ballard as far as they've gone. He's been to back-to-back state semifinals. And so big shout out to him. Congratulations and good luck to you in whatever you do. Hope to see you on the sideline again. Yeah. He's a heck of a coach and does a heck of a job, and he truly loves those kids. So shout out to him.
And ultimately, what a football season we had. We'll have those bowl games coming up. December the 27th will be the Holiday Bowl. That will be USC and U of L. December the 29th, that will be UK and Clemson. And of course, once that's done,
it's the Western Kentucky Bowl.
I believe that's the 16th. 16th. That's coming up, man. That's coming up in like 2 days. Is that coming up in 2 days?
Who knew?
Wow.
Breaking news.
The time is flying by. Would you believe that? I believe the Toastery Bowl takes place in Charlotte, and I believe that's on the 16th. It should be one of the first bowls of bowl season. And to think that bowl season's starting this weekend, that means I have to create a spreadsheet for my bowl
This
picks.
wasn't on the spreadsheet.
This wasn't. It was on the spreadsheet, but I haven't made my picks yet, Kendrick. I've not made my picks yet.
You're slipping.
I will make my picks tonight
You are
or
slipping.
tomorrow.
You are slipping.
I usually don't make my
You will
picks.
be reprimanded. It's December 18th.
Oh, it's
Monday.
the 18th.
It's on Monday.
For some reason, I thought it was the 16th. Does bowl season? Well, you got that open. Does bowl season start on the 16th, or am I not correct on that?
That is correct.
It is on the 16th. Okay, what's our slate on the 16th?
The Myrtle Beach Bowl, the Cricket Celebration Bowl.
Love the Cricket Celebration Bowl.
No, you don't. The Arnell Carriers New
The
Orleans
fans chirp.
Bowl. The avocados from New Mexico, from Mexico Cure Bowl.
I think you're supposed to sing that like avocados
Well,
from Mexico
go ahead.
bowl. That's what I
the,
thought.
the Isleta New Mexico Bowl. The Starco Brands LA Bowl.
Oh, that's a UCLA Boise State?
Yes.
Is that what that is? That's going to be a
Yes.
good one.
And Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl.
That's just too much of a mouthful. I'm not watching that.
California and Texas Tech.
I'm definitely not watching that.
Scrolling through the
Yeah.
Western.
Which one stands out to you outside of our local
I
group?
tell you what stands out to me is that I don't see TCU on this.
I don't see Murray State there either, actually, believe it or not.
Murray State cannot compete in such a bowl.
The Frogs did a bad year.
Of course, Georgia and Florida State, because you
Yeah.
wonder who's going to be playing in the game.
Yeah. Hey, okay, real talk on this. Do you believe that Florida State should start all their players, or do you believe the players should opt out? Where's your thought process on
That
this?
depends on their draft status.
So you think like if their drafts like Keon Coleman's supposed to be a first round pick, does he play or should he opt for?
I wouldn't.
No. Okay.
But if he plays, I mean, I don't blame him either.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people get mad and when they see the players are pulling out of out of the bowl games. But look, I gave you my 4 years or 3 years or however. I'm not going to sit here and get hurt in this game that means nothing. And by the way, the schools don't even make any money on these bowl games either. They lose money at these bowl games. Quiet, kept. I'm not risking everything for that.
Here's what I think they should do. If Florida State somehow
I would like to see them.
Yeah.
I would like to see both teams
fully
full
equipped.
go,
Yeah.
and I'd like to see Florida State pull off the upset.
And if they did, I'm not saying they are, but if they did, I would claim a national championship. I'm just saying I would pull a UCF back at what they did in 2017, where they claimed a national championship. I would claim it because Georgia was the #1 team in the country.
What if the team that actually wins is still undefeated?
I would still claim it. I would say that UCF claimed it, and I think the team that won the Natty in 2017 was that Clemson or was that Bama?
I think it was Bama.
It was one of the two. You can basically say either one, and you're probably right. Like that's a pretty 50-50 shot there.
Back then, yeah. See, it's one of the two.
Yeah, those two were
Lord,
constantly back and
yeah.
forth. Oh wow!
What you all don't know is we can see NBC up on our monitors that are just below the cameras, and lo and behold,
A gentleman, a scholar, a legend,
a
Shohei
player that I
Ohtani.
really like watching play, but now I'm not going to be able to stand it for the next 10 years.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful, Kendrick. You're going to be so excited to watch him every day. I'm so excited for you. Yes, I think. Oh, there it is. 10 years, $700 million. It's official. Isn't that crazy? LeBron makes $479 million.
How underpaid he is because he plays in a cap sport.
It's crazy. I'm so thankful that Shohei gets the greatest contract, and it's from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Anyways, any final thoughts on all that we've seen over the last month and a half, 2 months?
I'm excited to see your tears when in September, I guess still October, when the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Go tell John Bull that. He'll love it.
Because baseball is the most random sport when it comes to the
random.
playoffs besides hockey.
It is
baseball and hockey, home field advantage does not matter whatsoever.
No, it really doesn't. Like
it does not matter.
2019, the Astros, the Nationals go 7 games, and every road game was won. That's so random.
Road home field advantage does not exist in baseball or hockey.
Nope, not at all. And so we'll see what happens. Shohei can't pitch this year. I'm intrigued because we're gonna rely.
I didn't realize he's 29 years old.
Yeah. I mean, he came over from Japan 6 years ago. So he's had somewhat of a career already, obviously, with the Angels. What people
so you feel comfortable with paying somebody until they're 39 when he's not going to be Shohei Ohtani anymore?
Well, I mean, his name will say that.
Baseball's dumb with their long contract.
His name, I think this is how I've explained it to people. I think the big thing that the talk has been this week is the deferrals.
The deferrals, which is smart on him.
Brilliant.
I try to pull that off on NBA 2K and it doesn't let you do it as long.
We need an update, and they call it the Shohei rule. Man, like Shohei rules left and right. My fantasy baseball team's a mess.
To me for the team. I think for everybody involved. Now, for the team down the road, you've pretty much
right.
You're mortgaging your future. Right. But if you want to be good right now, and like for the player, you set up for life. And then look at Bobby Bonilla, and then Ken Griffey Jr. being the highest paid player on the Reds this year, and that's a real stat.
Yep,
you're set for life. It's perfect for the player. And if you're a team that's in win now mode, it makes sense now. In what
2034. 2034.
Yeah, but by 2030, when he falls out and you're paying all these deferred payments and you're sitting here mad because you can't get a pitcher.
If 2030 happens and we have 3 World Series rings,
I still know you're 2030.
You're gonna be so thankful. You will, Kendrick. You're gonna send me text and be like, "Wow, Shohei is still kicking."
You text and say, "Are you still on the good list?"
That's not true. That's a great closing point there, Kendrick.
Just like touchdown Friday night, I can make fun of your social media. We actually, honestly, you can tell that we have fun with this, even though most of it is me making fun of him. But
him attempting to, actually.
I will make fun of him again. I'm going to make fun of him when we go back in the office. But we will do this again soon. We promise not to be strangers. It's just we're very busy right now, so you know how it goes. But next time there's a Thursday off and there's no games, hey, you'll see us. And so.
It's the dream. If you have any topics, questions,
and I almost forgot.
Yes, this is it.
Our top. We are narrowing it down to our top 5 sporting. What did you call them?
Best events of the year.
Best things that happen in sports. You word it however you want to.
Yeah.
But just tweet at us on our Wave 3 Sports Twitter page. It's just our Wave X page. Yeah. Wave Sports X page. Tell us what you think was your best moment or best from Jeff Brom. Because I know Jeff Brom's hiring was before January, but we're going to throw him in there. We talked about IU women's basketball being a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. UK's stunning upset of U of L in the annual battle for the Governor's Cup.
U of L volleyball. We were going to put them making a national championship game in it. If you want to mention it, throw it in there. If it gets enough votes, we'll put it in there. So this is your list. All we're going is putting the story together to run on the news. Yep. It's your list. So we'll compile all the votes, see who gets the most. Tweet at us. You can tweet at our individual page, Dusty Baker TV and at Kendrick Haskins, and tell us what you think were your best sports moments of 2023. And we will have that for you. And it'll run a lot once we get it done. It will run more than once.
It
will run more than once. Also, we'll be here before Christmas and the holidays season as a whole arise. But
and it's not just restricted to college. I know I only mentioned the colleges, but Providence is run in high school football. Christian Academy winning back-to-back state championships for the first time in school history. Trinity winning state again. So there's plenty. I mean, there's plenty you can choose from. It could be anything if it's enough. If you got it now, if you get 1 vote and it doesn't get in there, then don't get mad at us. But
there's going to be the one Kentucky fan out there that's going to say UK's win over U of L next week. I guarantee you, we're going to get at least one of those.
No, they know that they don't not worry about that game.
Yeah.
So, but send those to us, and hopefully by then we have all the votes tallied up. So do that, and we will have that for you. It'll premiere on Christmas Day, and knowing us around here, it'll run just about every day after that through New Year's. So
rightfully so.
Get your votes in. We'll have that up on our Twitter page here soon if it's not up now. He's in charge of that, and he's been lollygagging today.
I've been doing great. Anyways, I appreciate the interactions that we've had with y'all, but feel free to message us, as Kendrick mentioned, tweet at us. We will do anything we can to cover the important news, the important sporting news in the area. That is our job, and we want to make sure you are heard in the area. Any final?
I got one final thing. It's been going on long enough. It's been 45 minutes of talking to you. I'm worn out. So
45 minutes. Wow.
So we will see you all Well, it won't be next week because that's the UK U of L game.
Yeah, correct.
It won't be the following week
Because you'll be out.
because I'm off.
Mhm.
And so maybe,
3 weeks.
just maybe 3 weeks from now, we'll
Yeah.
have a late Christmas gift for you. Either way, we'll see you all soon. Of course, you'll see us on the air just about every day leading up to that. So you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll keep Dusty on the good list.
Please, I'm going to try and control this guy. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you next year.
And this
Breaking down all the biggest games in our area. This is Sports Talk with Kendrick and Dusty on Wave Now. Delivered by Bearno's Pizza. Yeah, it's that good.